Welcome to Bedrock Business Builders, How You Get Paid Faster workshop, everybody. My name is Elizabeth Frederick, and I'm here to be the hostess of the mostest. I am the Chief Fun Officer of Bedrock Business Builders. So if you're not laughing, if you're not having a good time, if you're not learning something during this event, it is my fault. All right, make sure that you tell me in the chat that you need to learn something or you haven't laughed enough, and we'll try and figure out how to not be so funny. Because as Teresa would say, I'm a very serious person. All right. Right, Raymond? White Rabbit? Very serious. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, totally. And Joe Gichera is our presenter for the day. He is the founder of Bedrock Business Builders. Hats off to him. He wears lots of different hats, and he's going to actually present and tell us how to get paid faster, because there's lots of ins and outs of it. Joe, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Marvelous.
So I can share my screen. Yes.
Zoom can be a little bit difficult. So let me walk you through it just a smidgen. You can go to the ... and save the chat. You can go to the chat and save it. We've got reactions, so you can love what Joe's having to say. You can laugh at it. You can act like you're surprised, or you can just give him a round of applause. All right. Don't hold back on the reaction. Make it so we know how you're feeling about things, because how you get paid faster is an emotional thing, right? Money is emotional, isn't it, Joe?
I found that out, yeah. For some reason, people get emotional about it, especially towards the like the day before it's time to file their taxes.
True.
Okay, so am I up here?
You're up. You're ready. I even spotlighted you. I've spotlighted myself because I'm probably going to interrupt you too.
Okay, you were doing such a good job. I was waiting for you to continue, building me up here. So. Yeah, so this is a topic that came up, I think, organically, because I was saying, how do we get paid faster? And then somehow it wound up being a workshop, because we all want to get paid faster. And that's a good thing. It's all about cash flow. So let's get into who this is for. This is for people that want to actually get paid faster. Because, if you're in business, the first thing you're doing is you're trying to get business, and then you realize it's not good enough just to be in business. You want to send that invoice and you want to get paid. One of our clients, Steve, I wish he was here because he's a good client. He called me. He was so excited when he got his first client, and then he realized he didn't even have a bank account set up. So it's like, okay, you can get cash, but he wanted to know how he could get paid. So yeah, you need to have a bank account. That's one of the components of getting paid, unless you're in a cash business. And what you're going to leave with some more knowledge, some more information. Hopefully I'm going to show you some things that you don't already know. And at the very least, if Elizabeth does her job, if I don't show you anything, you're going to have some fun. So it's going to be worth it.
Because, Joe, we don't want to just hit that button where we're paying now, right? That red button where you can just pay.
You're going to spoil all my fun. You don't get ahead of yourself.
All right.
I'm still on why you should stay. You're going to stay because you're going to find out what that button does. And so you're going to stay because you're going to learn something. I'm going to get a chance to guide you, and you're going to be able to walk away with some real pragmatic information that's going to help you make your business a little bit stronger. There's nothing that's going to, you can't just turn a switch and say you've arrived. It's always a lot of little things. I think I saw Lou show up. I told her I was going to call her Louie. Is she in the meeting?
She is in the meeting.
Oh, hi. So we got some of my favorite people here. Carrie Yarborough. Yeah, Louie. So we just got done. She's one of our students, Elizabeth. And we went through this whole thing about how success is a lot of little steps. So this is another step Another reason is I added a special bonus, and Elizabeth loves this one. It's not a secret to her anymore. But I'm going to tell you the secret weapon that the IRS, the government, does not want you to know about. It's going to help you rest at night and not worry about getting audited. Okay, so if you don't know me, you might be wondering, who am I and why am I here? I'm an entrepreneur with the CPA license. That's how I like to think of myself. I didn't think of it. My mentor, my coach, Larry Broughton, told me that that's what I am. So I'm going to stick with that. Over the 35 years plus, because I am pretty old now. Well, what do we call it, Elizabeth? What do we say Susan is?
You're seasoned, Joe.
I'm
seasoned. Right? Like a fine wine or a good steak.
Yeah. So like Ray is even more seasoned than me, but I'm pretty seasoned. I've been doing this over 35 years, and I realize, I've worked with literally thousands and thousands of small business owners. And it was always really about creating books and records. I didn't realize it at the time, but that's what it comes down to. It's almost like a spiritual activity for me, because we get right back down to simple bookkeeping and setting them up for success. Because if you don't know your numbers, it's a lot harder to be successful. And if you're not generating positive cash flow, you can't pay your bills. And I always, one of my objectives in business is to get paid. I'm just like everybody else. So if I'm not helping my client generate cash flow, I might not get paid. So that's what I've done. This is what I love to do. I love to help people. I love to teach, and I love to guide them. That hand is actually my hand waiting to get paid, because I want to get paid faster, just like you. I'm glad you think that's funny, Elizabeth.
You're cracking me up, Joe.
I'm doing your job now.
I know.
So the first thing is, in order to get paid, you got to find out if your client even has cash and where it is. That's easy for me because we're doing their accounting. If I don't know where their cash is, then there's a problem. We're going to make it simple for you. Okay. That's one of our, one of my superpowers is to show complicated things in a simple way. And also, one of the biggest barriers to success is stress and anxiety. So that's where Elizabeth comes in, because when you're laughing and you're having fun, you don't feel that stress and anxiety.
It makes it so much easier. You can also even niche down yourself and say, I want to work with people who have this amount of money in their bank account. Did you know that you can focus your ads to do that, and it'll specifically make it so things that are popping up in people's feeds only go to individuals who say make $30,000 a year or $40,000 a year or higher than that. And when you're even doing, say you're giving them a questionnaire of how can we help you, you can ask them how much do you make. Now, don't make it required to submit the form, because some people won't give it to you, right? But can be a qualifier. All right.
That's a great point. That's what I love. I didn't just discover it, but I got a little bit of success on Facebook ads. We didn't actually get paid. But we got a lot of clicks. I'm like, I'm closer to figuring out how to get paid from advertising. And what I love about Facebook and Google is that's one of the parameters. You can actually say, this is who I want to target. You can focus on an industry. You can say if they're college educated, if they're not, and how much money they make. And this was another thing, I should have recorded this, or I should have saved this all for Louis, because one of the things we were talking about is planning your future. And if you want to get paid faster, or you just want to get paid, you got to have the right clients. When I started my when I started, I had the idea for Bedrock and I niched it down because that's what we do. We focus. I niched it down to people. I said, most of these people can't afford to pay an accountant. How am I going to make money dealing with people that are just starting a business? A lot of people have very little money, but we figured it out. And I'm going to actually share with you how we did that. But there was a lot of planning involved with this. So if you're in business or going into business, you got to look at who you're doing business with and make sure that they're going to be able to pay you. Now, accountants price themselves out of the market for a lot of small businesses. That's one of the problems. So our solution was, how do we make it affordable for this market? Because I was dead set on working with brand new business owners. Okay. So that's one of the secrets to getting paid faster. If your clients, if your customers have absolutely no way to pay you, it's going to be hard to get paid faster. It's going to be hard to get paid at all. So let's go through some of the regular ways, okay? Believe it or not, you can get paid up front. Yeah.
I think that's my favorite way, Joe. I have to admit, and attorneys do this all the time. It's all those retainers, and they don't even say exactly what they're going to do sometimes, or maybe they do when they're doing the pay to play. But that's where it's important, more often than not, to know your deliverables, right?
Absolutely. I'm looking at the accounting groups, and there's so many accountants that are complaining that they did somebody's tax return. They're like, oh, they didn't pay me, or they took the tax return and they went to somebody else cheaper. And I'm like, well, why did you give them the tax return before you got paid? Now, I used to do that all the time, but when I'm dealing with somebody like Carrie, hi, Carrie, I know that you're here. I trusted her. I know where she lives. And so I said, here's your tax return. You can pay me as soon as we send you the invoice. You can't wait, otherwise there's a penalty. But most of our clients, what I learned is that, number one, a lot of them pay the fees up front. Especially if I'm getting a brand new client, they're going to pay because if they're not going to pay from the beginning, they're probably not going to be a good client. Okay. If I'm getting, and this is my own business. Okay. This is the accounting business. It might not be the same as your business. Okay. I know Ray does financial, he's a licensed insurance guy. You can't get paid up front with that business, but you're getting paid from people that have deep pockets. You're not getting necessarily paid from the client. Okay. Now with that business, you gotta be willing, because it's going to take you some time to get paid. But if you're in a different business, like Elizabeth said, if you're a lawyer, you're going to get a retainer. There's not many lawyers that I know that aren't going to do something without getting paid first. Okay. If you don't get paid up front, at least get paid before you deliver, or close to it, as close to delivering your product or service as you can. Okay.
Yeah, that's called payment upon delivery. And then there's other payment terms that are not so beneficial to the person offering service. And that would be like a net 30 or a net 60. And that's where you put all the work out and you put everything out there, right, Joe? And then you're waiting 30 days to get paid, or you're waiting 60 days to get paid.
So that's a lot of people in the construction business have to do that. That's the way the industry is. And that is a killer. That can kill a business. If you're due a lot of money, especially people that have big clients, what if a big client goes bankrupt? You're stuck. Not only didn't you get paid, it cost you money to do that business. So and I've had some large construction companies. that ran into a problem. It stunts your growth. The only way for them to grow is to get a line of credit from a bank. Then you're paying interest. There's businesses like the garment industry where they're famous for factoring. So they're paying a lot of interest on they have the sales, but they got to wait to get paid. Now they can't produce their merchandise. So those are problems, that's the kind of business that they're in. But if you're in a business where you can get paid, and a lot of times the problem is people are afraid to ask. Okay, they're just afraid to ask.
You can change industry standards, I think, Joe. Like if you're
Well,
willing to ask, if you're willing to negotiate, you can change it.
Yeah, well, you work with the queen of negotiation, Eldana.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and she should have been on this. She could advise us on, because everything's negotiable. So if you're not confident enough in your business where you're afraid to ask for money up front, that's a mindset thing, I think. So Elizabeth, enlighten us a little bit on the terms, because you brought that up. I don't have it as one of my slides. I think I might, but you can, since you brought it up.
So
Go ahead.
So this is where your terms of service are important within either your invoice or your contract or your retainer agreement, whatever it is. When you are negotiating with your client, you want to make sure that you're saying, you pay beforehand. You make a deposit. You can say that you want some payment up front and then the rest of it afterwards, right? Make it so you have the ability in your terms of service to provide the services that you are claiming to provide. Because if it gets to a point where you're taking out credit, just as Joe said, with that net 30 or that net 60, you're putting your money on the line for that contract. And there is a potential or a possibility where the person, if they haven't signed the contract, if they haven't agreed to that net 30 or net 60, and if it's some amount over $500, well, that's not a contract and you're going to be stuck footing the bill. So before you put any money down on a bid or any type of thing like that, you want to make sure that you have a signed contract with the party that you're working with, especially if it's over $500.
Yeah, so that was something you brought up in a meeting that we had. I wasn't aware of that. I thought any oral contract is a contract, but you're telling me that if it's over $500, you have to have something in writing. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes, you have to have something in writing for it to be validated by the court. And it also has to do with where are you going? If someone breaches the contract, if someone doesn't pay you, the amount of money that is involved in that contract determines the type of court that you go to make it so they'll pay you their bill.
So can you specify that in the contract? Or
yeah. Okay. So in the contract, in your terms, you can specify the law that you want applied. You can specify the court that you're going to go into, or what a lot of big businesses do right now is they say, all right, we're not going to go in any court because we don't want to have to deal with a jury or a judge. Instead, we're going to do alternative dispute resolution. And what alternative dispute resolution does, it says we're going to get a third-party mediator. You can specify the mediator that you want in the contract before it's signed. And you can say within that third-party mediation, we want this law applied. And then from there, what the parties have done is they have contracted to waive their rights to be in court. And instead, you are subject to the ruling of that third-party mediator. So that's another term that you can have. And it's important because it makes it so you know what will happen at all spectrums of the contract. If it goes good, you're just going to get paid and you're going to offer services and everybody's happy and fine and dandy. If it's not good, then you know how to make yourself whole. And one of the caveats to, say, a PayPal service is when you are negotiating back and forth, you are then, because you're using a service like PayPal, PayPal says you're subject to our terms of service for payment. And what will happen if there's a problem between your agreement, we're going to rule over who keeps the money.
Right. So I think I cover that in another slide. But now,
keep going, Joe. You know I can get too excited.
Well, we're on a topic now, and so that all sounds really, really complicated. But what I've learned in business is that all you need is a template, really, right? If you got the right template, you put it into a template contract, and you have all those terms in there. You can actually make it like 100 pages, make it fine print like all the other companies do. So they don't even know what they're agreeing to, and it's only a problem. But the thing is that you put it in your court instead of leaving it out there for somebody else to decide, right?
Yes, that's true. You want to control the negotiations, and a lot of times they'll say whoever puts out the number first or whoever puts out the term first is at a disadvantage. I don't agree with that. I think Eldana a lot of times doesn't agree with that either, because you know what you can do. Right?
Well, that's if you're negotiating a contract, I think. But for like us, and we have clients that are consultants, they get a monthly fee. What we started doing, instead of just quoting somebody a fee, we actually give them a contract. And in the contract, it says, or we give them a proposal that they'd sign, and I guess that becomes a contract, right?
That's true. Yes.
Okay. So in that, it says that this contract is subject to the terms of service, and we actually have that on our website, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. So, it's not always, so getting paid faster, maybe you need to make sure you get paid first. So all this is about actually getting paid. And another thing that we do, so if you're a monthly client of ours, you automatically get invoiced, and sometimes people don't pay, or we do a special project and we got to invoice them. So what we found is that just sending reminders, this is just a courtesy call, we'll send them a text message, an email. What we found is that if we just send an email, a lot of people don't read their emails all the time, or sometimes it goes into spam. So we try to find out what's the best way to contact you, not just to get paid, but if we have to contact you, what's the best way? So some of our clients, like I know we have a client, Bob, he's always in the car, he's not checking his email, but he checks his text messages all the time. So that, if you want to get paid and you're having a problem, make sure that and it might just be, so I'll give you a quick scenario. So Bob wasn't paying a bill. It was a monthly bill. It was for his payroll. And 1 month goes by, 2 months, it's tax season. So I'm like, I'm not going to, bother him. It's $60. I know he'll pay me. I know where he lives. And it turned out that we put our email address. I was trying to save him the heartache of dealing with payroll notices, payroll reminders. So I said, let's put our email address in the pay. Well, what I didn't realize, that defaulted to his invoice. So he wasn't paying because he wasn't actually getting the invoice. It was coming to us. So don't send the invoice to yourself. You definitely won't get paid. Okay, and now we're into invoicing. Okay, one thing, so the way that you invoice is definitely important. What you use to invoice is important. So some people, when they set up a business, like our friend Steve, the first thing you need is you need a bank account. You need a business bank account. A lot of our clients, when they set up their business, because they're new businesses, they don't have a business bank account. Now, we show them how to do that. It's not as easy as you might think, because when you set up a corporation, You have a separate tax ID number. You got to bring down your articles of incorporation. If you're an LLC, you need your, they're asking for a lot more stuff now when you open your bank account.
You even want a resolution that you have the authority to open the bank account. Even if you're holding the articles of incorporation and your EIN number, they also want that resolution. And a lot of times that resolution is just a template saying that this corporation authorizes this person to open this bank account, right? And then it's you signing it at the end.
Yeah, so think about it. If you're the only, and I laugh at this, if you're the only shareholder, okay, you're the only one on the board of directors. So you're actually having a meeting with yourself and electing yourself as the person that's responsible. But the bank doesn't care. They want a document because they're getting killed with fraud. All the stuff we were talking about in the beginning. If you get hit with fraud and somebody gets your money, the bank is going to reimburse you. Okay. They're tired of paying out, fraud claims. So they're making it harder to open up a bank account. And it's really for your own protection.
And this is where if you are already a seasoned business owner and you've had a corporation for a long time, Raymond just asked a question, where do I get my articles of incorporation? You get your articles of incorporation for the Secretary of State from the state that you've incorporated in. All right. And a lot of times when you first incorporate, you wind up getting your official articles of incorporation. There's normally a fee on top of your state fee when you're incorporating to get that certification or to get that certificate. And then if you lose it, if you don't have it anymore, you can go back on to the Secretary of State office and order a new copy. But mind you, it's going to cost you something to order that new copy.
Yeah, and that's killing me. Like New York State, you automatically got your certificate of incorporation and it just so happened with Steve, he was like, well, I didn't get and I was like, no, you're wrong because I emailed it to you. No, what I emailed them to him without realizing it was just a filing receipt. New York State decided, without asking me, they decided that they were going to make people pay for the articles of incorporation. Why? Because they need the money.
So that's where it's a moving target, the articles of incorporation for each state.
So Raymond's incorporated in Pennsylvania. They have different rules in New York State, California, and it is a moving target. And the problem, so New York State not only made it, when they switched, they made it extremely difficult to find out how to get the articles of incorporation, which made it impossible for Stephen to open up a regular bank account in New York State. What it came down to is he actually had to fax in a request, which then they were going to mail him. I still don't know if he's ever gotten that, but there's ways around opening a traditional bank account now. So companies like Wave Apps and QuickBooks Online, you can actually have a bank account with them, believe it or not. I have a bank account with QuickBooks Online. They sent me a debit card. I can, as long as I have money in the account, and all I got to do is direct any invoices that are being paid to my QuickBooks Online account. Okay, I can get an instant transfer, okay, with QuickBooks Online. So the money is available right away. And they're going to ask you for some documentation to prove that you're a business. They might not ask for your certificate. They didn't ask me for a certificate of incorporation. I'll tell you the truth. I don't remember what they asked me for. They might have asked me for my license.
A lot of times they're asking for your EIN number from the IRS.
Oh yeah, they definitely asked for my EIN number, my business identification, and my social security number. They want to know who's personally liable for this. So the difference is I could open up a bank account and I could open up what they call a merchant account. which means I can get paid by credit card into my bank account. Now, those accounts, and I have a friend that does that. We actually have a couple of clients that do that, that set like restaurants up with merchant services. So if you're a restaurant, you really don't have a choice. Those things cost you a lot of money. You're paying a nice size fee, but you got to jump through hoops just to get a merchant account. Okay, so with Wave apps and with QuickBooks, I actually did a couple of Facebook Lives with Wave apps where I showed people you could literally open up an account with Wave and invoice people in less than 5 minutes. If you're going to open up a merchant account and you want to take credit cards, it's going to take you weeks at least. I've had businesses where it took me a couple of months to get everything set up. Okay, then you got to pay for the credit card machine. There's fees all over the place.
The reason why it's so hard to do credit cards, Joe, just so everybody knows why it's a pain in the tush, is because credit cards can actually do chargebacks where people will pay for services, and then after they've paid for the service, they'll contact the credit card and they'll say, hey, I didn't want to pay for that. You need to do a chargeback.
Yeah, okay. And there's fraud. There's a lot of fraud with that stuff, so all this fraud that you hear about, it winds up costing consumers because somebody's paying for it. It's not the banks. They make money, believe me.
That's part of the reason why you have on this slide that you want to avoid Venmo, Zelle, or PayPal. One of the ways that PayPal tries to protect themselves and you and a consumer against chargebacks is they'll hold your money. That is why they're doing that.
The reason, so a couple of other things with Wave apps. So it's not free. It's not free to get it. It's never free to collect money on a credit card, okay, or a debit card. They're going to charge you about 3%. So will QuickBooks. Now, the difference with QuickBooks Online, and I learned this from my mentor, Larry, because what he does, and I'm not sure this is legal in every state, but he charges, if I'm paying by credit card, he added 3%, no, not 30%, I would have fired him. He added 3% to my invoice. So if he's charging me $1,000 a month, it cost me $1,030. And I was like, how could you get away with doing that?
This is where if you charge the merchant fees, the 2.7 or the 3.3%, right, that average amount to every customer, you're within your right. That's oftentimes the cost of doing business. And that's where you want to, when you're creating your invoices, when you're creating how much it's going to cost, you want to include that in your overhead.
So that's another thing you would put in your terms of service, right?
Oh, yeah, of course, Joe.
So what we did, we said, okay, and we don't always do this, we should, but we say, okay, you have a choice, because what I learned, so the other thing, I told Larry's assistant, I said, I don't want to pay 3%. How do I not pay it? And she's like, well, you could pay by check, ACH. That's what, and I said, okay, how do I do that? She's like, well, we use QuickBooks Online. So Wave doesn't give you this choice. I don't think they do. They might have changed it. And if you don't know this, Wave Apps is owned by H&R Block. I'm telling people, well, that's a whole nother story. I knew Wave Apps was going to be ruined when H&R Block bought them. But they are good if you have a business, you want to set up getting paid right away. QuickBooks gives you a choice. If your customer pays by credit or debit card, they're going to charge you 3%. Okay. If they pay by ACH, they only charge you 1%. Now, if you're doing a lot of business, that 2% adds up. Okay. Believe me. If you're doing $10,000 a month in business, that 3% is $300. and 1% is only 100. That's $200. That pays for our server. Okay, so one of the things, it's not just about getting paid faster, it's about how are you getting paid and how much are you keeping. Okay, now the reason why I say avoid Venmo and PayPal, there's a lot of stuff going on now with them issuing 1099s, and the truth is that's not an issue, because if you have a business, you got to report your income no matter how you're getting paid. But like Elizabeth said, first of all, they control the terms of service. Okay, if you sell something to a client and they have a problem with it, they're going to reverse it. They're going to take your client's stand until you prove that you're due the money, which is another thing with taking credit cards, Elizabeth. So we had a chargeback. We had somebody say that we didn't give them the tax return. When we did, we had proof. He disputed it. I'm like, that should be a fraud. That should be a criminal act, because it's really fraud on his part. But they reversed our fee, even though we had the proof. And now it's like almost 2 months and we're still waiting for them to make a decision. So
it's hard to get the money back. And as a merchant, a lot of times you won't get the money back. That's a sad thing. I don't want to say that we might not get the money back for that, but that's the reality of those chargebacks. And the other thing that happens with an account that receives frequent chargebacks, especially in PayPal, is that then your account is flagged and they will actually stop your ability from getting payments, because they don't want to have to deal with the chargebacks over and over again. So like if you have an online store, if you do things that are like through Shopify, because Shopify has its own payout service built into like that web designer, a lot of different websites do at this point. That's one of the things that you have to look out for. Don't accept money that when it's coming in, it comes in and it's got weird names and it's got strange email addresses, and it's like for an amount that is way too much. That all of those red flags, that those are going to be fraudulent purchases that are specifically looking for the chargeback. And it's a known scam, because what it does is they're taking somebody's credit card, right, that isn't necessarily in their name. They are paying for services to you through you. You then accept it. Once you accept it, it then goes back when they do the chargeback and they get the money. But at that time, what they have done is they have defrauded the credit card person that they stole the account from, and they have defrauded you all at the same time. Yeah. There is nothing that these payment companies can stop somebody from doing that to. This is where you as the seller have to be aware of who you're accepting money from. And Joe, just like we can accept money, we can deny money too.
Yes. It takes courage to deny a big payment. But sometimes they say if it's too good to be true, it is. And just one more note on the PayPal Venmo thing. First of all, Elizabeth, PayPal owns Venmo, right?
Yes, they do.
PayPal's becoming like the evil empire. And I have a friend that they said, oh, you violated our terms of service. We're taking your $13,000 balance. And there's nothing you can do about it. We don't even have to tell you why. You can get a federal subpoena, and even then we might not answer it. For some reason, they're not subject to the same banking laws. And I think the case, I'm pretty sure he got the money back, but they could hold your money for like up to 6 months.
That has to do with customer service. Did you know that people will pay 11% more in fees for good customer service? But when you're dealing with someone who has deep pockets like PayPal, they are not really concerned about that customer service any longer.
Yeah. You don't even get somebody. You get like an AI. I don't think there is. Yeah, it's kind of scary. But the next slide is about lowering your merchant fees. And we covered a lot of that. But I should ask Eldana, is there a way, can't you just go to the merchant and say, listen, we're paying 3%, can we pay 2%?
Yes, actually you can. This is where if you do a lot of credit card purchases and you have a credit card machine that is doing the readings, you can negotiate that contract. Now, will you get it so it's lower? Perhaps not. Is it worth trying to? Always. That's the benefit of asking. You don't know unless you ask. Okay.
Yes.
And they're going to give you their standard contract. So unless you go and you ask them for something different, you're just going to have their standard contract.
Yes. So that's one thing Eldana taught me, you know, even when you, and this isn't on this topic, but she negotiates prices in retail stores. She's like, can't you give me $10 off in this toaster? And a lot of times they do. She'll negotiate everything. The only thing she negotiated with Elizabeth, and she wound up paying a higher fee. So don't negotiate with Elizabeth. If she got Eldana to pay a higher fee, I don't know about that. So now we actually have a client that gets checks and she goes to the bank. Okay. That's not a good thing. Okay. Nowadays you can actually do mobile deposits. I do them all the time. I get paid faster. It's usually in my bank the next day, just as fast as if I went to the bank. But the thing here, it's one of those hidden costs that people don't realize. She's standing on the line. It's unproductive time. She's got to drive to the bank. So that, you know, you may not be getting, yeah, you are getting paid faster because you're saving the time driving to the bank and depositing the money. Sometimes the bank lines are long and you want to avoid that.
Raymond, you are correct that banks will often have limits on mobile deposit sizes. But I know, like, one of my banks that I use, the limit is seriously $50,000. All right. So unless you have a check that's over $50,000, then you know what? Just to see the look on the teller's face when I deposit that check over that amount, that's worth it, you know, because I hope they're celebrating with me the same way I am. But overall, most banks, and there might be some banks out there that do not have apps, but a majority of them do. Make sure you're downloading the app and you're having it on your phone, because doing the mobile deposits can be beneficial. And you also then will have the choice. You can either wait 2 or 3 days for the deposit to come in and you don't pay the bank any fees, or you can hit that red button, right? And Joe talked about the red button before. We don't necessarily want to hit the red button to automatically get our payment, because that will cost us more money.
Yeah, you know, that was another thing. I think I skipped over that with the PayPal thing, but you know, and I'll be transparent here. What was it? Last year we started growing. You know, when you grow, sometimes you have cash flow problems, and I would see money come in and it would say, get paid now, get paid instantly. Okay. And it was 1%. Now I'm a CPA, I'm an accountant. I know how to add. Okay. But until I looked at the financial reports, I didn't realize how much it was costing us. Now, once I realized, I was like, I got to cut this down. That's why we went to QuickBooks Online, because I said, if we switch our clients over to ACH, we'll lower our percentage from 3% to 1%. But here's the other thing I found out. Like I said, with QuickBooks Online, if I'm using their bank account, I could get paid instantly and not pay any percentage. So that's huge. That, you know, listen, you're not going to find any big areas where you can say, oh, I'm going I'm going to free up $10,000 a month. It's a lot of little things. Okay. So if
Those
you
small
can,
purchases all the time that we're making. It's the same thing with like our membership fees and things like that. So I think the goal of this workshop is not only how to get paid faster, but how to also keep more of your money. And this is where within Bedrock, that firm foundation of knowing your numbers makes it so you can see where you're spending your money, where you're spending or where you're losing money. And that 1% within Bedrock, it became a huge amount of money because we were just saying, give us our money now.
Not only that, by getting it. So now if I could get it now for free instead of waiting a day, I've sped up my cash flow by a day. Okay. Now people might not think, oh, that's not that big a deal, but it is. It is. It is when you could get discounts. Okay. For paying ahead. I'll give you an example. Software. A lot of times they'll give you 2 months off if you pay up front. Okay. You pay 10 months, you get 2 months free. That is huge. That is huge. If you know the time value of money, you can do the calculation. But I don't know what the percentage is. But if you had to put the money in the bank to get that rate of return, you'd have to get a pretty large percentage. Maybe Raymond could figure that out for us. He's the financial guy. So anytime you get a chance to, I remember this from my corporate finance thing. Like if you're buying supplies and you, instead of paying it in 15 days, you get a 2% discount for paying it early. That adds up to a lot. It could add up at the end of the year to a lot. So you always want to take advantage of discounts.
And you as a business owner, Joe, guess what? You can also make that so you offer a discount if people pay up front. You can incentivize the whole, instead of the net 30 or the net 60, I want you to pay up front and I'll give you a little discount. But say you are insisting on that net 30 or that net 60, it's going to cost you more. Why is it going to cost you more? Because I'm giving you that time. It's almost as if you are allowing a payment plan. And when you allow payment plans, just like banks do, you can charge extra fees. All right. But if you're going to give them or incentivize them the idea that they can pay early or they should pay early, giving them that discount is a good idea. Discounts, though.
It's a win-win. It is
a win-win. But this is the thing with discounts. Discounts are all a mindset, Joe, right? So when you offer a discount, you think to yourself, even though I'm offering a discount, that discount is still above and beyond what I'm going to need to offer the service. You're not going to discount yourself so then it's not a positive benefit to your bank account. You're going to offer a discount with that in mind, that I'm still making money off of this transaction.
Yeah, that you got to know what your profit margin is, and it goes back to knowing your numbers. But yeah, so what that does is, there's a reason why the big companies offer a discount. They got smart people, they got CFOs doing the time value of money thing, and they're like, hey, if we get 10 months now, we can use that money and invest it, or we can buy another company, or it's cash flow. It always comes down to cash flow. So now on the other end of the spectrum, if you could get credit without having to pay interest, in other words, extend your payment terms. If somebody's going to give you 30 days to pay, there's no incentive for you to pay it now. Wait until the 30 days. Larry Broughton told me about this. When he hired a new office manager, he said, why are you paying these bills early? And her reason was that the bill came in. And, he's like, it's not due till the end of the month. Now he's in the hotel business, restaurant business. Cash flow is huge, huge. So if you get somebody to extend you credit, you want to take it. And that's another thing, there's a big thing now with getting your own business credit. Okay, how do you get business credit? First of all, business credit is outside of your social security number. Okay, it's how you can establish business credit. It's a process. You have to get a Dun and Bradstreet number. You get a free one, not one that you pay for. But what that does is it puts you on the path to getting business credit. Okay, now there's good credit and there's bad credit. Bad credit is when you're paying 20% on a credit card. Good credit is when you get terms, okay, 30, 60, and you don't get any incentive to pay it quickly. You just pay it when it's on time. Okay.
Also, one of the easiest ways to get a credit card for your business is to use the bank that you've set up your business bank account with as to start with, because they know your numbers. Just like how Joe said, we want to make sure that our clients can pay us. We kind of want to know what's in their bank account, right? Well, the bank that you set up your business bank account with will know your numbers. So they're more inclined, if you don't have any credit, to give you credit.
So you want credit, and this is another thing Larry taught me, he's like, oh, you got to build cash reserves. And I was like, why? I have good cash flow. Why do I need to, have $200,000 in the bank? It's like, because a deal might come up that if you have cash, you can get and that's what you want to put yourself in the position where if a deal comes up, you can do it. So, establishing credit is very, very important. Not so that you can go out and spend wildly, okay? It's so when that deal comes up, you can make it, okay? You never know. You don't want to be caught, oh, I wish I had the cash and I would do this. Okay, so also you want to watch your interest and what your bank charges are, okay? Believe it or not, it's negotiable. I have a family member that they're overextended on their credit cards. They're paying 20-25%. So I said, why don't you call them and lower the interest? And he didn't know he could do that. Okay, so if you're paying a high interest rate, you call them. If you're having financial problems, say, listen, either I'm going to file for bankruptcy, you get nothing, or you're going to lower my interest rate. And when you do that, you don't affect your credit. That's another thing. You want to look at your credit score, because if you have a low credit score, you're going to be paying higher interest. It's like a vicious cycle. And you're like, well, I'm paying higher interest because I don't have the money. You don't have the money because you're paying high interest. Okay, so you got to watch your credit score. You got to know what you're paying in interest. Like I said, when I was pushing that button, it was sort of like instant gratification, but it was costing me. And I didn't realize it until I looked at my monthly financials. I was like, you got to be, now I'm not just paying 3%, I'm paying 4%. 1% didn't sound like a lot. Okay, but when it adds up, it adds up. Okay, your bank fees. Okay, believe it or not, you could go in there, if they're charging you $20 a month, there's banks that won't charge you anything. And who is it? Elizabeth, can you enlighten us on this? I think the community banks will give you a better deal sometimes.
Well, yeah, so community banks will give you a better deal for the interest or your fees. There are a Citizens Bank is a bank that will actually give you a business bank account, and they don't have any fees. And there's different, and Citizens Bank is also a community bank. When you're going to open your first bank account, look at their fees. Look at their printouts. They'll give it to you. And if they see that you're shopping around with different banks, they will show you all their different options. And there's times where if you have $500 or $1,000 that you can put in the bank account immediately, it gives you a different level, or it gives you a different type of account where then they charge less fees because you're opening it with more money. The other thing that can happen is if you have the ability to do a direct deposit, and I mean a recurring direct deposit. So some of us, we do a business, right? We still somehow get a W-2, or we're in a business and we give ourselves a W-2. Make it so that direct deposit is going into your bank account, your personal bank account, right? And then you can have less fees, you can make more money, you can actually get incentives from the banks to leave your money there.
Yeah, the banks love direct deposit because for them it's cash flow, just like for us. I have TD Bank, and when I looked, I have 3 different accounts. I have 2 business accounts and 1 personal. And when I looked at it, I was like, I was paying $60 a month in fees. So I went to them. I said, listen, I'm closing these accounts. And they're like, wait, we have a different program. So I was like, what? What do you mean? How come nobody told me about this? And it's like Elizabeth said, because I never asked. And it's sort of like a scam. They should be saying, listen, you shouldn't have these high fees, but they're not gonna
sometimes the longer you're a customer with somebody, they can take advantage because they know that you're there. They know that they can change their terms of service. We get them in the mail often. Your terms of service is changing in the next 30 days. Here's what it's changing to. We oftentimes don't read it. We put it off to the side. And then all of a sudden we're getting charged $30. Why are we getting charged $30 more? And we don't even know because we've thrown out that change of terms of service, right? So if you have an awareness, if you're willing to be dynamic and where you're putting your accounts, or just have just know what's going on and ask them, build that relationship. You do have the ability to, as Joe just did, change your type of bank account because they are changing. Now, I will tell you that sometimes a savings account is different, and having a savings account for a long period of time, that can be beneficial to you and your rate of return from the bank because of that savings account might be higher than if you were to open a new one. Like Joe, I have to admit, I still have a savings account from when I was 12 years old at a bank because they give me more money having it there that way.
Yeah. So my fee at TD Bank went from $60 a month to 30. But then I went to Citibank and I'm like, this is what Citibank did. They actually gave me $200 to open an account, and I had to leave the money in there. And it wasn't a lot of money. I think it was like $500. I had to keep it in there for like 3 months. And they gave me $200. What I didn't realize is they gave me a 1099. I had to pay taxes on that $200, but it was worth it. So their fee was only $10 a month. I just haven't had a chance to switch my bank over, but now I think I'm going to go. You said Capital One is a community bank, right?
Citizens Bank is a community bank.
Citizens.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Some like Capital One, their fees can be pretty high, but this is where Chase Bank for personal banking also has where they will give you $500 if you leave a certain amount in your account or you have a direct deposit. Reading the fine print is important in that type of thing when you're setting up bank accounts.
These banks, they're competitive and they keep changing. So, the pain in the neck is switching all your automatic payments and stuff. But, $30 a month, that's $360 a year. That pays for a couple of breakfasts and a couple of coffees at Starbucks. So it all adds up. One thing I forgot to mention is we have a friend, Susan Shepard. I'm going to throw her under the bus. She was complaining about all the fees that PayPal charged her. So I said, well, you could actually pay $0 if you just accept checks. Believe it or not, the bank doesn't charge you a fee to deposit checks. So you don't have to pay any fees if you're willing to get paid by check. Okay, so that's just one thing I wanted to throw in there.
So long as you have a bank account though, Joe,
Yeah.
all right? Because there are
Yes.
some people who don't have a bank account and then they're going to a check cashing place and they are paying a fee,
Oh,
right?
good.
Check cashing places are their fees are the highest. If you can open a bank account, please open a bank account. If you can do those mobile deposits with the check, do the mobile deposit with the check, wait the 2 or 3 days like that. If we're talking about the bullet points of how to get paid faster and the most amount out of that payment, those are the ways to do it, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes it is being willing to wait that time and be aware that there are banks that if you go to them and you don't have an account because they want you to open an account, they will say, we won't cash this check unless you pay a fee. All right. So
Yeah,
there's
somebody brought
there's
this up.
caveats to that.
I'm sorry, go ahead. Somebody brought this up in our mastermind, I think, the other day, that sometimes you can go into the bank that it's drawn on and cash it for free. Is that true?
Sometimes it all depends on the terms of service of the bank. They're businesses just like we are, right? So they have different, it's all different depending on the different bank. And that's how we wind up with 3 bank accounts, 4 bank accounts, 6 bank accounts, 8 bank accounts, 10 bank accounts, right? And then all of a sudden you have to look at all these different accounts that you have and you have to condense them, because making it so you don't have 10 bank accounts and minimizing the how many you have is more ideal, will save you money than diversifying out that big. However, accounts are only insured at $100,000 per account by the FDIC. So if you have more than $100,000 in an account, that's where, because we're going to talk about big money too, right, Joe? So that's where you want to then perhaps open up more accounts to make sure that if the bank is robbed or the bank, something happens, right? I don't know how many banks are getting robbed these days. The one down the road for me a couple of years ago.
Listen, there by me, I'm like, what do people, they all get caught? I don't get this.
I wouldn't be robbing a bank anytime soon.
I mean, sometimes they get away with it 2, 3 times, but eventually, I mean, they got cameras. What, I guess they're people on drugs or something, but
I don't know. But this is where to have your money insured with the FDIC is beneficial to you.
If you want a way to rob people legally, this is what you can do. Start your own credit card, okay? Because I think we're thinking about having a bedrock, not that we want to rob people, but it's a great business. That's why, you see all these different, you can get like the Yankees credit card, everybody's got their own credit card because it's a great business. Open a bank. It's a great business. People don't realize how they make money off the federal government. How? If you deposit $1,000, they have the legal ability to lend out $10,000. Now they don't have $10,000 in their vault; they only have $1,000. Well, how do they do that? Because the federal government says that's how much you can loan. It's all like an electronic. It's all on the computer. It's not even real money. All of these loans and everything, that it's not even real money. Think about that.
So you're talking about that type of business model, right, Joe? So there's apps that do that. Like you can borrow money from, it's an app called Dave, or you can have a Chime account and you can borrow money, or there's like money loan and stuff. They're instant loans. And what they're doing is they're banking on the idea that you're going to have a direct deposit come into your account. They're going to prepay you your money from your direct deposit, right? So it increases your cash flow. And then they'll even give you, say, $100 or $200 as credit on top of it, because they know that you're going to get that next deposit.
Yeah,
Apple Pay will do the same thing. So you got to watch out for things like that. But it is a viable business, and that when you're borrowing money, be aware.
I bring it up, Elizabeth, because if you think about that, they're making profits off of us. Okay. So it's buyer beware. And I want to just end with this. That's the end of the slides. I just want to talk a little bit about our CFO package. Accounts. What exactly is an account? It used to be people had a bank account. You know, I was born before, I don't even think they had credit cards. Okay, so credit cards came into the picture, but people had a bank account. The bank closed at 3 o'clock and that was it. Now people have PayPal accounts, they have Zelle account. All of these are just like bank accounts. Okay, if you think about it. You can leave balances in your Venmo. You can leave balances in your PayPal account. You can use it just like a checking account. Okay, so be careful, especially I had a client once, he had a PayPal account he forgot to tell me about. I discovered it by doing his accounting. And I said, what are all these PayPal things? He was like, oh, I forgot to tell you. It turned out he had $300,000 worth of sales in his PayPal account that he forgot to tell me about. Okay, that's supposed to go on his tax return. And that's why I bring this up, because all these 1099 requirements, if that was today, he would have got bagged. It would have got reported to the IRS. Lucky for him, I found it before we even filed his tax return. Now, I don't know if he was lying to me about he forgot or he actually knew about it, but just be careful with all of these accounts, because sometimes it's not going through your bank account. If your accountant is doing your accounting, if it's not us, they can easily miss it. Okay, even like eBay, I'm not sure if I'm pretty sure I have, yeah, we have a client, she sent me a statement. You could keep a balance in your Shopify account, those are bank accounts, just like any other bank account. And it's gotta be reported on your tax return. So are there any questions before I finish this up? And we're gonna play Jeopardy, right, Elizabeth?
Of course, we've got a party board, Joe. You know, I need to make sure people are paying attention. I want to make sure that everybody is undoing their screen and we get to chit chat with each other. All right. This is a engaging learning environment. All right. And we're going to, of course, tell some jokes.
Okay. So give me a chance to pitch our company. Our $57 a month CFO package. It's like not only having your own accounting team, it's like having like an insurance policy against the IRS, the state and local governments. We talked about those scams, and you know, if you're a member of Bedrock, you don't have to worry about those scams. You don't have to worry about getting those IRS notices, because we take care of that and all of your monthly bookkeeping, so you know what your numbers are. We'll tell you if you're paying too much in bank charges, if you're paying too much in merchant fees, if you're paying too much in credit cards, and that helps you take control of your finances. We're on top of everything. You don't have to. You don't have to do your own bookkeeping. You don't have to do your accounting on a spreadsheet at the end of the year like a lot of people do. We keep it in real time. We're going to send you reminders. We're going to send you emails. We're going to call you, just like and it's not just about, you know, we're not calling you just to collect money. We're calling you to get the information so we can do the job.
We're like your back office, I think, right, Joe? Because we're even doing the P&L on a quarterly basis. And if you need to meet with your accountant or the person who is doing your monthly reconciliation of accounts, you have the ability to meet with them. We're actual people in Bedrock. That's why it's Team Bedrock. It's not just Joe.
You know, you can have the H&R Block Wave accountants where you know, I don't even know if they're people. They might be computers. I'm not sure. But what we're doing is on a regular bit, we don't do tax minimization at the end of the year. We're doing it throughout the whole year. And we are looking at, it's not just me. We got accountants like Luz and Tisha. They're looking at, they're finding stuff that I can't find. And they're doing it because they're paying attention and they're keeping our clients' books up to date. Again, you're going to protect yourself, your family, take control and hopefully have some peace of mind. Now, if you're a new client, we're offering 3 months free. If you're already a client, hopefully you got the 3 months free, but this is really just for new clients that are coming in. And that's it. That's the 3 months free. This is our team. It's growing. We used to have a couple of people and all the pictures were bigger, and now the pictures are getting smaller because we're getting more people. That's a good thing. This is what we do. And now the extra bonus. I told you in the beginning, I was going to give you my secret weapon against the IRS. And it's called, this is the, okay. I jumped ahead of myself. Elizabeth, are we still offering the itty bitty S-Corp book if anybody wants it?
If somebody wants a copy of it, I still have a few copies to give away. So by all means, tell me in the chat. And thank you for staying as long as you did. It's a digital copy of the S-Corp book, but I also have to admit that Bedrock Business Builders is going to upgrade this book. All right. So look out for our revised copy.
That's right. So now the secret weapon is you get it automatically if you're a Bedrock client, and I'm going to give it to you now. Even if you're not a Bedrock client, it's called Section 162. Elizabeth loves this code section. What is that? It defines what's deductible. The most asked question I get is, what can I deduct? And it's simple. It's anything that's connected in any way to your business. Now, I know Raymond just did a whole cross-continent trip. He went from wherever he is in Canada all the way to, I know he went to Las Vegas and he drove across country. And I know that he was calling his accountant for advice while he was there. He was also handing out his business cards. So that whole trip was a tax deduction. There's nothing the IRS can do in an audit. If you ever got audited, I've used this in the last 2 audits that I handled. One was where they told our client that none of her deductions were business related. They gave her a bill for $250,000. And all I did with both of them was I brought up Section 162. I said, this is how the IRS defines what a business deduction is. And with both of them, they wound up paying the IRS $0. So if you're wondering what you can deduct, it's anything related to your business. Okay. And I can go one workshop, we did a whole thing of strange but true tax deductions. I can share that with you if you want to meet with me. Just go to Time with Joe. I love to talk about business. I know there's a couple of people, Dr. Lawana Parker here. I think we're due for another chat. But anybody that's here wants to talk about their business, I'm available. And that's my story. I'm sticking with it. Thank you. And let's play Jeopardy.
All right, Joe, I'm going to make it so we are no longer spotlighted.
So how do I give you, I still don't know how to use.
No, I still have control. Don't you worry. All right.
Oh, you have control?
This whole time I've still had control. That's part of the reason why we use my link.
I was just sharing the screen. Okay. Someday I'm going to learn how to use Zoom.
So you're more than welcome to undo your video. Our Jeopardy board is still about getting paid faster, invoicing retainers. We're going to make sure that the information that we shared, maybe you're going to remember it. We've got invoicing retainer, too much, not funny, true or false. I will tell you that every mastermind that we have is on Fridays from 11:30 until 1, and we play Jeopardy. We also ask burning business questions, and we have a lot of fun with one another, I believe. I know that it makes it so I'm always laughing, right? But then again, I think I'm funny, and maybe I'm not too funny, so maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just me who's laughing. All right. So
do you know that you have over 8,000 Unopened emails.
No, that's not even my that's not my email account. That's somebody else's, but I'll go like this. Boom. I am the tab monster, okay?
Okay.
But
Just saying, I hope none of those are mine.
no, none of those are yours, Joe. I told you that's not even that's not mine. That's not your email. That's somebody else's email. But I'm not going to give away whose because they get a lot of emails. Now, as you call out where we're going on the board, I want you to introduce yourself. All right. This is being recorded. It will be on YouTube. People can see it. Keep that in mind. And this is to make it so you can give me your introduction. We practice it a lot during the mastermind. All right. But this is your 5 seconds of fame. So we've got invoicing, retainer, too much, not funny, true or false, 100, 200, 300. I don't have the right answers. You guys have the right answers. Okay. And where are we going on the board? I undid us. I stopped showing the board.
What happened to the board?
I stopped showing it so you can do your introduction, right? So I heard Raymond. He yelled invoicing for 300. Raymond, give me your introduction. Who are you? What do you do? Tell me something that I didn't know.
I'm the official Bedrock White Rabbit raving fan client, and I have numerous businesses. So trading, insurance, virtual pre-construction, and affiliate marketing in general. And I'm pleased to announce that I'm ensconced in Pipersville, which is like northeast of Philadelphia, for the summer. And I'm planning trips to New York to visit in person with Joe and Elizabeth.
All right.
My goodness gracious, that warms my little heart. I have to admit that I have never met with Joe in person. All right. We are in New York. We're not that far away from each other, but doing something in person would be a fantastic thing. We've worked together for several years at this point. And I believe Teresa has a son that has a restaurant somewhere, but she left. So I'm not going to do too much of a plug for her son's restaurant, but it should be fun. So you said invoicing for 300? Backward. What is something you want to include on an invoice?
The cost.
There we go, Carrie. We want to definitely include the cost. What else do we want to include on an invoice?
The service.
The service next to the cost, usually. What's the service? Then what's the cost? What else we include on an invoice?
Your business information.
Oh, that's a perfect one. Thank you.
How about the term?
The discount code.
Terms. Sure. A discount code. You want to tell them that you've given them a discount and what for, perhaps. Yes.
Time to pay or the due date.
Oh, the due date. Yeah. Is it due on when services are done? Is it due beforehand? Is it net 30, net 60? Stay away from that net 30 and net 60 if you can.
On how to pay.
Susan, there you are. Where's your video? How to pay. Very good.
I'm in a mess here, so I'm not showing my video.
All right. We're out and Susan all over the place around here. Donna, what do we include on an invoice? I'm going to call you out real quick.
Is it important to include the invoice number so when they pay it, they could reference it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's marvelous. I didn't even think about all that, but that's your books and records, right? So you can know the invoice number and who's paying what. Back to the board real quick. Somebody, Donna,
Your
actually.
company logo.
Oh, the county logo. So Donna, you gave a good one about the invoice number. Do you want to give me an introduction? Who are you? What do you do? Tell me something I don't know. I'm going to spotlight you for everybody.
My name is Donna. I have a luxury concierge business, and the services I provide include travel, events, entertainment experiences, personal shopping, investment property research, and wellness. And I leave for a destination scouting trip to Italy in May, and I'm very excited.
Oh, I have somebody I can connect you with Italy. He does amazing tours. Remind me after.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
It's all tax deductible too, you know.
Thank you for that. When you were mentioning that, I was like, okay.
Well,
It is
think
all
about
packed.
it. You're in that business.
So where are we going on the board, Donna?
I would like to do too much for 300, please.
How do you give credit to
The
a
wrong
customer?
one.
Wait. What am I? All right, backward.
That's
Never
not-
mind. It's not funny. Wait, which one did you say?
Too much for 300.
Too much for 300.
All right, I was all ready to tell jokes. 86% of customers are willing to pay 11% more for this.
What is customer service? So I wasn't asleep during the show.
Ding, ding, ding. You are correct, Raymond. Now, who
Great
would you like?
customer service.
Great customer service. There we go. Vet has a qualifier. So, Vet, I'm going to spotlight you. Who are you? What do you do? Tell me
Hello,
something I didn't
everyone. I'm a mindset coach. I'm also a metaphysical practitioner in Reiki and psychic channeling. I have a business called Visions with Vet, and I go live on Tuesdays and Thursdays on Facebook, and I read people and kind of tell them about their life. So that's me.
Marvelous.
And we'll go ahead with your not funny for 300 since you want to tell jokes.
All right. Let's see. Hopefully I didn't mess it up. Okay. How do you give credit to a customer?
Thank you.
All right. You can say thank you to them.
What
I
is
know. You could give them a
time to
referral
pay?
fee.
Referral fee. You want to give them time to pay? Those are all reasonable answers, right? But I'm going to tell them that they have top billing on my invoice.
I get it.
You know, like a playbill? No. Told you it wasn't too funny. Now, who has not introduced themselves that wants to introduce themselves? Because I've gotten Donna, I've gotten Raymond, I've gotten Bet. Dr. Lawana Parker, are you here? Do you want to introduce yourself? No.
I thought maybe you were going to miss me.
Never. Do you have your video? Do you want me to spotlight you? Or no, you just want to be part of the crowd?
Part of the crowd is fine with me.
All right. Who are you? What do you do? Tell me something I didn't know.
Well, you already know that I'm a journal and creative writing coach, but here's something that you don't know. I've added a sideline of doing Legal Shield.
Oh, cool.
Ooh.
I love that company.
Mm-hmm. So, just been with it for 2 weeks now, and I'm already finding it extremely exciting. My son and my grandson have decided to join me on the journey. So I'm off to a good start, and I really like the things that they offer in there. I mean, you need a will. A friend of mine told me he paid $3,000 for him and his wife to have their will made. Could have gotten it for $29.95 a month payment. You
That
need
must have been
contracts
painful.
read. They'll read the contracts for you. No, all it costs you is your monthly $29.95. You're having trouble with tickets you receive, or someone's giving you a hassle with a product you purchased. All it's going to cost you is $29.95, and you got top lawyers, not the legal aid lawyers, but top-notch lawyers to help you. So if you'd like to learn more, please call me. I'll put my contact information in the chat box.
There we go. Everybody can put their contact information in the chat. All right. Make it so you all connect with each other. You're all schmoozing. You're all doing coffee chats, whatever it is that you do to make it so you collaborate with one another. That's a benefit to everybody. So thank you for your introduction, Dr. Lawana Parker. And weren't you editing books at one point too? Not only.
Yes, I still have people asking me to do that.
Mm-hmm.
It's not something that I advertise that I do, but people who know that I do it, they'll come to me or refer someone to me. But no, I don't go around advertising it because it is a little bit time consuming.
All right. I'm giving away secrets then, okay? So
That's okay. I accept side money anywhere I get it, as long as it's legal.
there you go. Where are we going on the board?
Oh boy, I have never been good at this type of thing. Let's do a true or false for 200.
People can contract to anything that is not deemed unconscionable.
I will say true.
That is true.
Mhm.
So the 50-cent word here, unconscionable, means that it has to be reasonable. Do you know who
Mhm.
determines?
I thought taking out a hit was a contract.
That's unconscionable. It's not reasonable. You can't contract to illegal services there, Raymond. All right.
Oh,
Okay.
darn it.
No illegal services. Any contract that has to do with any type of illegal anything is not
Hey,
going to
in
be
New
recognized
Jersey,
anywhere.
anything's legal as long as you don't get caught.
Oh.
That's what Tony Soprano said.
Yeah, he's dead now, so I don't know if I'm gonna go with that mindset. Anybody else want to do an introduction? Come on, this is a time where you can advertise yourself. Carrie.
Yeah. So wait a minute. I was like, I will. I was like,
Thank
wait
the
a
heavens. All
minute,
right,
I'm
I'm gonna
mute.
wait. Are you driving though? Because
Wait a
that's
minute. It was
dangerous.
like 80 degrees here in Cleveland. No, it's good. But yeah. So Carrie Yarbrough, Aura Initiative, Human Resources Consultant. I am in the works of trying to work with mid-sized to small to emerging companies here in the Cleveland, Ohio area that are looking for an organic approach to their HR services that they already have in place or in need of. I do services a la carte and also have packages that can stem from 30 days on out. And what are we on? Our screen? It's still too much for 100.
Too much for 100? Okay, I'm going to remove your spotlight. Thank you for your introduction. I appreciate that. I have to say that Bedrock Business Builders is giving Carrie a run for her money, testing out her services. So we'll let you know how that goes. But I have positive vibes all about it. All right. So not too much for 200. And while you're driving, I'm going to mute you and you're not going to talk, okay? Because you need to focus on driving.
That's
That's it. I just want people to be safe. I'm not sorry.
Right?
But I appreciate that you're still here, that you can listen in like we're a podcast or something. Name some bad credit card terms that you should be aware of.
Annual fees.
Be aware of those annual fees. Yeah. Generally, you don't want a credit card that has an annual fee.
Super high interest rates.
Mm-hmm. Super high interest rates.
Service fees. Some of them have like service fees for different things.
Mm-hmm. When you get a credit line, before you go over your credit line, because there's fees for that, sometimes you can ask them to extend your credit. That's always beneficial instead of paying fees to extend your credit and really you can't extend your credit. I think that's it. Maybe other ones, but you know. Any other introductions? Annie? I'm gonna call you out. Susan? Annie left. I'm sorry, Annie. No, Annie's still there. Somebody left. I don't know who. Annie, Susan. We have Luz in the room. Luz is one of our accountants. Luz, do you want to give an introduction? Otherwise, I'm going right back to the board, peep schools. There she is. Dun, 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 dun. I'm even going to spotlight you, Luz. Who are you?
I'm Luz. I'm working as an accountant in Bedrock Business Builders. I help all our clients if they have any questions that I can answer. I replied as soon as I read their emails. So it's nice working with Carrie. I know Carrie, Raymond, hello, and hopefully.
Liz, what are you doing here? You're supposed to be working.
Yeah, I'm working.
Luz, I like your
I
apartment.
caught you.
That's nice.
It's just a background.
Oh.
Yeah.
Why do you have one of the Philippine bedrock?
And Loana is here. So those are the clients that I was able to meet.
Okay, just make sure you take this time off on your time sheet so I don't have to pay you for this.
Oh my goodness gracious, Joe. I don't think so. In fact, you told everybody to come to our workshops, to be here. I think Luz is definitely working. She's working hard right now, all right?
I know.
So, and Luz is also the taskmaster with the mostest, okay? So she does do a lot of things within Bedrock, and she is the one that you will receive emails from more often than not. She if you don't know Luz, you're not paying attention to the things that are going out from Bedrock, okay? And if she asks you for anything, make sure to listen to her. I don't know what will happen if you don't listen to her, but she doesn't stop, all right? Team Bedrock.
Oh yeah, my son-in-law is scared of her.
But she's incredibly helpful.
Saying, did I give Luz everything I was supposed to? I don't want to get one of those emails from her.
So, Luz, do you want to pick out where we're going to go on the board?
I don't see it.
Oh, there it is. I popped it back up.
Invoicing.
Invoicing. All right. I got to move everybody over.
Yeah,
for 100, 200?
200.
The board is made with Canva, everybody. This makes it so it's easy to edit, just in case I do something wrong. When running an ad, you want it to lead to
a sale.
Sales.
Yeah, ding, ding, ding. You want it to definitely lead to a sale. And that sale could be something that they're purchasing, right? Invoicing right in the moment, or it could just be you want their email address. And
actually,
from their email address.
You know what? Because I just got done telling you that. It was like, first you got to get their email address. You're not going to do an ad and get somebody to buy something. What was I saying? That's not the right answer.
Well, it'll eventually lead to a sale, right?
Well, so yeah, that's true.
And there are companies that do ads for specific products, like a tangible product, and then they're paying for it right at the moment, in the moment, right? That is possible, but within our industry, because it's more service orientated and people need to know, like, and trust us, it is more the email address.
Yeah, you got to go through this whole. You got to go through this whole torturous process. It's like, first you got to get their email address, then you got to give them something for free, then you got to try to, trick them into buying something from you. Like, why can't they? No, 30 years ago, I put an ad in the paper for Quickbooks service, and my phone was ringing off the hook. It's not that easy anymore. You gotta actually tell the truth and give people stuff now. It's annoying.
All right, Joe, where are we going on the board?
Let's go to retainer for 100. I need a retainer.
When you provide an ongoing service and want to be paid before services start, what do you do?
Charge a retainer.
You charge them a retainer.
A monthly retainer, right?
Monthly retainer. Okay. What else can you do to, like, convince them that they should do that?
Tell them that you know where they live.
You can put that on the invoice.
They're saving money, in the long run.
You can give them a discount if they're paying beforehand, right? You can say, oh, I'm going to give you a 10% discount just because I like you so much and you're going to pay your bill early. Now, mind you, that 10% off is my usual fee, but you don't know that. It looks like a 10% discount.
Oh, so wait, you raise your fee and then you give a discount?
Mm-hmm.
So I should get 10% off of what you're charging me.
Joe, you've gotten more discounts than anyone I know. No. So in retail stores, they often do this. I live close to Woodbury Commons, right? And Woodbury Commons is all the outlet stores for those big name brand Louis Vuitton, all those people, right? They often have big sales, Black Friday sales, right? When they do those types of sales, they change all of their labels or all of their tags. And
What?
they say, yeah.
Oh my God.
If you work for these people, you know that they do that. But they change the tags to say, this cost $50. Today, we're going to discount it 50% off, and it's $25. But don't you know, if you go into that store on a regular Monday, that sweatshirt is usually just $25 anyway. All right. All right. These are the sales tactics that they're using when they're giving the discounts. They're always making it so they're covering their overhead. So when you give a discount, make sure you're covering your overhead. Susan, I saw you you put on your camera. Does that mean you're going to give an introduction?
Oh, sure.
Marvelous. Sure. All right. Hold on. I'm going to spotlight you.
Is that our business plan you're working on, Susan?
No, it's my paperwork, my overwhelming pile of paperwork that I have just sorted through. There's a whole lot on the floor that's going in the recycling.
Make sure that you are somehow destroying those papers if they've got important information on them, like account numbers or your personal information. Either put it in a garbage that's covered in water or has water at the bottom, or shred it. Okay.
Most of it is actually just empty envelopes and trash mail. All
right, then recycle that, my woman.
No, that's what I do with it. Anyway, I'm Susan Shepard, and I have a little company called Getting What You Want. I have been a registered nurse for 50 some years, and I used to run emergency departments. I also have been an entrepreneur since 1978 and have owned or participated in owning 12 businesses. Currently, I am a life coach specializing in relationships, and I'm a business advisor in terms of doing organization charts and policy and procedure manuals. And mostly what I do is I work with single people who have had their heart broken or have had serial bad relationships with the same people in different bodies, those destructive relationships that you run into frequently, and to help those people to expand their perception of who's out there for them so that they can find a legitimate and satisfying relationship. So that's my introduction.
Satisfying relationships. Susan, I have to admit that since I've met you, most of my relationships are way more satisfying than they ever have been before. So
well, that's good. That's good. I like to keep people happy, And what did you want to know about me?
Is there something that I don't know? I don't know. This is where it gets harder and harder the more times you come.
I grew up in Lake County, Illinois, half a block from a lake that we used to swim in the chain of lakes that went all the way up into Wisconsin and Michigan. And I am the oldest of 6 children.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Well, see, I get to tell you something new all the time.
Voila. We're going to go back to the board now, Susan. Where are we going? Because we've never not finished one.
Oh, let's go to retainer for 300.
See, we're all very interested in learning today. No jokes. What are the benefits of monthly recurring income?
Stability.
Ooh. I like that. I like that you had
stability, money coming in. it gives you legitimacy. If you're trying to file for a loan or something, you can prove that you have regular income as an entrepreneur, which isn't always easy to prove.
And Donna and I had talked about this when we were on a meeting, that within that regular recurring income, a lot of times your contracts can't be transferable. But if you can make it so your contracts can be transferable, it makes it easier to sell your business.
True.
Right? Yeah. So that's
Yeah, I did not know that. But that was a good tip that you gave me. So thank you.
You're welcome. That's a cool little thing. And sometimes, Dr. Luana Parker, I got to tell you, I love Legal Shield for some of the most basic things that you can do, and it definitely saves you money. But there are these little insider tips that Legal Shield, whoo, there she is. I knew that beautiful face was going to pop up.
Oh,
all right. Done.
all right.
Come on.
Sorry, I had an emergency call. I had to leave you guys for a little bit.
That's okay. But sometimes that's a difference between Legal Shield and then also contacting just a regular local attorney or a specific financial advisor. And when you use those services in tandem at the same time, then you can get the most bang for your buck. All right. But I definitely agree with you. Legal Shield, ooh, they are taking over the legal industry. So
I believe so. I mean, I had a situation and all I did was call and they wrote a letter and it was taken care of just like that.
It's very interesting how they're able to do what they do.
Not to mess with you now.
Don't mess with Dr. Luana Parker, all right? Luana, where are we going on the board?
Okay, let's see. I'm going to stick with the safety one. True or false for 300.
See what we got. Instant loan companies will charge the highest rate of interest.
True.
That is definitely true. Having experienced it is definitely true.
They do. So when you're looking for a loan, make sure you're shopping around, all right? We can borrow money from Dave on his nifty little app, but he's charging a premium.
So that is so unfair. Why does the government let them get away with that?
Because people can contract to anything so long as it's not unconscionable. All right? Recall. Buyer beware. And it takes some time. It takes some time for the government to even realize that people are doing fraudulent things or they're making contracts that are not good. Right? So there are people who oftentimes rip somebody else off, and it will take 2, 3, 4 years, longer than that, to actually get into the purview, into the sight of a government regulator.
Yeah, I remember years ago when I was working and something came up and I had to go to one of those places to borrow money. It took me over a year to get out of it because I couldn't pay it back in the lump sum. So every time I went, I had to borrow it back, and they only allow you to pay small amounts in a certain amount, and then you have to do the lump sum thing if you want to, or continue borrowing and repaying. So I tell everybody, don't go there. That is an absolute last result.
That's why a lot of times when you're opening a business, you want to stay away from that net 30 or that net 60 because you want to reduce your likelihood of taking out such loans. Oh, yeah. But, we all fall victim to it sometimes. It happens. We dust ourselves off. We keep going. Susan, you shouted out that it was true. So where are we going on the board?
Let's go to invoicing for 100.
Marvelous. Name 3 ways you can invoice someone.
You can verbally invoice someone. You can send them a bill in the mail. you can send them an email, and you can send them a request through any of those apps.
Mhm.
And,
Now,
and you
when
can
you're-
hire a company to invoice them.
That's true. Now, when you're verbally invoicing somebody, what's the limit to that? Extra bonus points.
500.
Yeah. Woohoo. See, Beth's listening.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. You do not want to verbally contract to anything over $500. You want that in writing. Otherwise, it's worth bupkis. Okay.
So what if you, well, all right. So what if you make somebody an offer and they pay you on the spot for, say, $10,000?
They pay you on the spot.
The IRS.
Yeah.
So if you make an offer and they pay you on the spot, then they have paid you. That's great, right? But say they do a chargeback and they say, oh, I wasn't really paying you anything. You have no way to fight them. You have no way to enforce it, right? They just get their money back. This is where if they pay you in the instant, you can then still send them a terms of service or an agreement, and you should, to protect yourself. So you can keep that $10,000. All right. But are you going to say no to $10,000? No, not necessarily. But you can also refuse money if you're worried that someone is trying to scam you and they're going to do that chargeback. We talked about that type of scam earlier. Donna.
What if they pay you and then you send them the invoice?
That's okay. On the invoice, you say paid.
And then they can't take the money back, right?
So long as you meet your deliverables. But if you're using one of those pay services like PayPal, you are stuck to their terms of service too. And they may say that you have to prove that you actually delivered services.
Okay.
But when you do that, because I know people use PayPal and such, you can attach your terms of service to the invoice.
Okay.
And you can even say on there that there's no returns, there's no exchanges. And that's an added little thing that you can add to the invoice. No returns, no exchanges. You paid in full. Thank you very much.
Gotcha.
Yeah, could I ask a quick question? I meant to ask
Always.
earlier. What is the best thing to do then? If you're saying avoid PayPal, Zelle, and Venmo, what is the best one that we should think about?
So this is where ACH payments are helpful, and that's where QuickBooks Online can do that, or Wave apps can.
Yeah, but you got to pay
ahead,
for
Joe.
QuickBooks Online.
Mm.
What I like about Wave apps is it's free. You could set up your company in a couple of minutes and you could be invoicing and get paid in less than 10 minutes.
Okay.
That can be a benefit. And those other payout services, they're around. People use them. I don't think there's a way to really completely avoid them either, but it's knowing what they do. It's knowing how to protect yourself. It's knowing how to use their system to the fullest extent. That's really helpful. Mm-hmm. Okay. So yeah, are we in Bedrock Business Builders a little particular? Sure, we're a little particular, but at the same time, we know that our clients take in money many different ways, and we have in the past, and sometimes even now, taken money in many different ways. So where are we going on the board?
Let's do not too funny for 200.
Woohoo! What makes profits look bigger and bills look smaller?
Revenue.
That's a good answer, Joe. But I'm just gonna say the font. No, not funny. Profits look bigger. Bills look smaller.
No, that's not funny.
The font.
Is there anybody on there that's old enough to remember him?
All right, I'm cracking myself up over here, but you know, Who does a bad joke?
Yes.
Last week
I remember the phones.
Last week I could tell my son these jokes, but this week I'm just gonna pass.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I had to keep it in the whole, like, you're getting money.
Just gonna pass this week.
All right. Keep it serious because it's 2:59. We can't not finish a board. What is net 30, net 60? I keep talking about it. Why?
Because you want to avoid it as much as possible.
Uh-huh.
It's usually when contractors have to wait 30 or 60 days to get full payment for services.
Mhm.
You want to get it, you don't want to give it.
There you go. You want to get it as a payer. You don't want to have to be the payer. Never mind. Let's keep going.
Too much for 100.
Too much? All right. What are some fees that you have paid in the past to get your money?
The mafia.
What? You're paying the mafia season? Thank goodness for season.
The Hells Angels.
Pay with blood.
Hell's Angels.
I don't think that's the answers you were looking for.
Oh, my firstborn. All right, I like those answers. I'll take them. That's it. Better
what
than
kind of
my
clients are we attracting here, Elizabeth?
Ones that are messing with the Hells Angels. I don't know about all that.
Listen,
the Hells Angels and Legal Shield.
Hot dog. Value is based on perception and cost of overhead, sales tax, and service fees. True or false?
True.
True.
Last but not least, if you know how to beg, you would do well in this department.
Collections.
It's true. Collections.
Ah.
Wow.
Dun, dun, dun. All right.
That's not funny.
Wah, wah.
It's true. It's true though.
Yeah, it's
really?
deafening. Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. If you're good. So one of the things that my daughters are like, they are experts at is asking the same question over and over and over again. Okay.
500 different ways.
Yep.
Yes, 500 different ways. They want the answer that they want, and they will just ask it over. So it's not necessarily a joke, vet, but maybe you'll tell it to your son that you're good at begging. You should definitely go in the collection industry. They've got a position just for you.
Is that begging or persistence?
Persistence in life is key. Both.
Yeah.
I guess it doesn't matter.
That's how he gets his Xbox back. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
He's like, shut up, here it is.
Uh-huh. They want that device. Don't you? They're addicted.
Oh,
so here we go.
They'll do some chores for that.
What was your biggest takeaway from this workshop? Don't all hold back.
Oh.
Don't mess with Alana Parker.
I got that one. Don't mess with Alana Parker for sure.
If you don't know your numbers, then you're not being successful.
That's the hard truth right there.
Yeah. Mine is definitely you want to get the 30-day extension, but not give it.
Okay.
Yes, especially in your business.
Mine was
Mine was
62.
What's the section, Donna? Say it loud and proud.
162.
Woohoo! And who determines what's a
that,
reasonable business expense?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to go into your business because I'm going to have to do a lot of research.
Okay.
I'm going to become what do you call yourself? A luxury concierge?
Yes.
All right, that's our new business, Elizabeth.
All right.
Let me just steal Donna's contracts, okay? Hot dog. Raven, what was your biggest takeaway?
wave hats.
Wave apps. Dun, 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 dun. And I did share in the chat, Joe has done lots of very in-depth, detailed videos on how to use Wave apps, how to use their invoicing system. He even charged me an invoice. I think it was like $10,000. I still haven't paid it.
I'm going to put you into collections.
Oh, you better have my daughter start begging for you.
I'm going to hire your daughters.
Here we go. We talked about the benefits of hiring your children and other
you hire them
workshops.
with a retainer.
Man, they're experts of that. Okay, they always get paid up front for their chores. I'm not joking. They listen to me too much.
They're learning. They probably know a lot about tax laws too.
More than you would ever believe for a 6-year-old and a 9-year-old.
I could see Bella going to her teacher saying, "What is Section 162?"
She goes and I had some W-2s all around. She was checking out what the W-2s were. She was asking me what the numbers were. She wanted it all broken down. All right, Raymond's done. We are at 3:05. This has been a fabulous workshop. All right, I hope you come back for the mastermind on Friday from 11:30 to 1, just for fun. We'll cover other topics. We'll have another workshop next week. And don't forget, if you are not a client of Bedrock Business Builders, become a client of Bedrock Business Builders. We do the CFO package. It's $57 a month. It covers lots of different things. It gives you lots of different benefits. You can schedule time with Joe. All right, that's timewithjoe.com. He'll tell you all about it. He'll give you a proposal. He'll look at your taxes. And if you want to talk with me, it's timewithelizabeth.com. But really, I rely on Joe to funnel people to that link. So that's so he can get his referral fee.
I get a referral fee?
How do you think your services are so discounted, Joe? All right.
Okay.
Have a fabulous evening, everybody. Joe, do you have any closing words?
Bye, everybody.
Bye, Carrie.
I just want to thank you, everyone, for participating. It was a lot of fun. Now I got to go walk my ex-wife's dog. Okay. So this set me up for that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.